You ever see someone try so hard to look like the good guy it actually makes them look worse? That's exactly what's going on with Meghan Markle right now. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is just more royal gossip, let me tell you it's not about tiaras and tabloids. This is about who someone really is when the cameras are off.
Let's just look. How can you not laugh at that? I mean, she's a total mess and embarrassment. If you wouldn't laugh at this, you'd cry.
And trust me, the flight attendants who've dealt with Meghan have some stories that'll make you rethink everything. So here's what kicked this all off. A TikTok video dropped out of nowhere. In it, a bubbly American Airlines flight attendant raved about having Meghan Markle on her flight, called her the Queen, showed off a handwritten note from Meghan herself, said she was beautiful and kind and loved her nails. The video went viral. Of course it did. It was like watching a Hallmark version of Flying with Royalty. But here's the thing, that video total setup, and I'm not just saying that because I don't like Meghan, I'm saying it because multiple airline staff people who've actually served her called BS the moment they saw it. Turns out Meghan's got a bit of a reputation in the skies, not just one or two people complaining. We're talking British Airways staff, American Airlines crews, even folks who worked on her movies before she married Harry, all saying the same thing: she's cold, rude, and treats people like they're beneath her. And the worst part, she flips the script when Harry's around. When he's nearby, she turns on the charm. As soon as he's out of earshot, whole different person. Let me back up a second. A senior British Airways flight attendant, someone who served Meghan on a long-haul flight to South Africa, reached out to a journalist completely unprompted. She was horrified watching Meghan play the sweet passenger act in the media. According to her, Meghan didn't look at Archie once during that flight, not once, wouldn't feed him, comfort him, or even acknowledge him when he was upset. It was the staff and the nanny doing everything. Meanwhile, Meghan sat back like the kid wasn't even hers. You'd think maybe she was just overwhelmed, right? New mom, international travel, jet lag. But nah, this wasn't just one bad day. The same staffer made it clear Meghan only acted polite when Harry was nearby. Once he walked off ice cold like someone flipped a switch. That's not nerves, that's calculated behavior. And then we've got the American Airlines side. A few crew members from AA, who asked to remain anonymous for obvious reasons, said she's hands down the worst celebrity they've ever dealt with, worse than the ones who demand caviar at 30,000 feet, worse than the ones who scream about sparkling water not being cold enough. Meghan apparently has this habit of demanding upgrades without paying for them, acting entitled to first-class treatment on an economy ticket, and when she doesn't get her way, she gets mean. So yeah, when that TikTok video popped up, all sugary sweet and smiley people who've actually dealt with Meghan were shocked, not because she was being praised, but because that flight attendant publicly broke every rule in the airline handbook just to post it, sharing a handwritten note from a celebrity talking about a passenger by name. Huge breach, like lose your job level breach, unless of course it was staged. And that's what folks are starting to believe, that the whole thing was orchestrated as a PR move by Meghan herself to clean up her messy image. Because the truth, it's not looking so polished behind the scenes. There's something really telling about how someone treats people they think can't talk back. That's where you see their real personality, not the red carpet version. And Meghan, she's built an image so carefully curated you'd think she was walking around in a filter. But when you start talking to people who've worked with her, especially before the royal fame hit, the cracks start to show, and they're not pretty. One former crew member from a low-budget film she worked on before she married Harry shared a story that still makes industry folks shake their heads. Meghan during her Suits era was already flexing like she was the star of a Marvel franchise. This wasn't a blockbuster, it was a small production, tight budget, minimal crew, just trying to get the job done. And yet Meghan made life hell for everyone involved. She refused to travel with the rest of the team. She demanded business class flights on routes that didn't even offer them. And when she was told no, she didn't just accept it, she exploded. At one point, she allegedly demanded a private jet for a 2-hour flight on a film with catering barely stretching to bottled water. And you know what makes it worse? This wasn't a one-off. Multiple people said the same thing. Her entitlement, her attitude, the way she dismissed people who didn't serve her purpose. She wasn't even in the royal family yet, but you could already see the "do you know who I am" energy. It's like as soon as she got a taste of spotlight, she decided that basic decency was beneath her. Now imagine what happens when that spotlight grows. Because once she married into royalty, Meghan didn't suddenly become more humble. She doubled down. Stories started trickling out from palace staff, quiet ones at first, people leaving their jobs, others refusing to work with her. And sure, there were always excuses: she's under pressure, she's misunderstood. But behind the scenes it was the same story repeating again and again: bullying, power games, two-faced behavior depending on who was watching. Back in the US, the story was just as messy. American Airlines crew were quick to point out that Meghan never followed standard protocol. She expected to be treated like royalty, literally. Even when flying commercial, she didn't buy premium tickets, but still demanded special service not requested, demanded no eye contact, no warmth, just cold stares and clipped instructions. The staff would walk away from her section physically tense. One of them even described it as walking on eggshells at 40,000 feet, and that's where things started to boil over, because people can take only so much before the truth leaks out. Airline staff might be bound by strict contracts and NDAs, but when they saw that sugary TikTok video making Meghan look like a saint in the sky, that was the last straw. They started reaching out quietly, cautiously, telling the other side of the story, one where Meghan didn't just act entitled, she treated people with open contempt. One crew member even said she made us feel invisible, like we weren't even human. So when people say this is just gossip or another attack on Meghan, they're missing the bigger point. This isn't about what dress she wore or what headline she made. This is about someone consistently using their image to cover up how they really treat people. And when you've got staff across airlines, film sets, and royal palaces all saying the same thing, that's not coincidence, that's a pattern. There's this strange irony with people like Meghan, so obsessed with controlling the narrative that they forget real people talk, not the PR teams, not the magazine writers, real people who've worked with her, served her, flown with her, and walked away with stories they can't forget. And while the glossy version of Meghan tries to live online, those other stories keep piling up, told in whispers by people who aren't looking for fame, just the truth to be heard. What really takes this whole situation from entitled to unsettling is how calculated it all seems. When Meghan knows she's being watched, she plays the part flawlessly, smiles, gratitude, even a handwritten note here and there. But when the cameras are gone, when the Instagram filters are off, another version of her shows up. And it's the version that leaves people deeply uncomfortable, the type that treats others like background noise unless they're useful, the type that sees kindness as a performance, not a baseline. One airline staffer mentioned something simple but haunting. She said Meghan would only say thank you if Harry was in the vicinity, not out of forgetfulness, not because she was busy but because she was performing. And that one detail sticks, because that's the kind of thing you can't fake. You either respect people or you don't. And when gratitude becomes part of a show, it means nothing. Even more disturbing is how airtight the protection around her behavior is: NDAs, confidentiality agreements, legal threats. It's like her entire public life is surrounded by a legal fortress, whether it's airline contracts, royal staff, protocols, or corporate image handlers. The people who see the worst sides of her are locked into silence, and that's what makes the PR stunt so frustrating for those on the inside. They know the truth, but they can't speak it. So when a TikTok video magically goes viral showing her in a golden light, it's not just annoying, it's personal. It's a slap in the face to the people who endured her behind closed doors. Even her own family seems to have stepped away. Her father publicly estranged her half-siblings, vocal critics, but lately even her mother Doria seems distant. At a Beyoncé concert, Doria showed up without even telling Meghan. No photos together, no shared glam, just silence. And when Meghan admitted on a podcast that she was annoyed by it, the tone said everything. It wasn't concern or curiosity, it was control slipping. And for someone who thrives on managing her image, that's terrifying. And then there's Harry, stuck in the middle of this entire machine, probably still trying to convince himself he married someone like his mother, kind, generous, graceful. But from what insiders say, he's been shrinking in the relationship, fading behind Meghan. He opens doors while she poses, he speaks softly while she dominates. It's like the power balance flipped the second they landed in California. And if the stories are true, even he doesn't get the real Meghan all the time, just the version she wants him to see. It all circles back to one truth: the way someone treats people when there's nothing to gain tells you who they really are. Meghan has money, fame, a platform, but none of that means anything if she treats people like props in her story. Eventually that kind of behavior catches up, because even when people are silenced by contracts or loyalty or fear, the truth has a way of leaking out quietly at first, then louder, until one day the spotlight turns and the mask slips for